we should have a dance. We should be like, Project Breakdown.
Project Breakdown.
Wait, which way did you go first?
You went, this way first? Wait, you do it again. Project Breakdown.
I can't. I'm Tamu Green.
And I'm Brianna Gardner.
And we're here for another episode of our Project Breakdown. Today we'll be breaking down the kitchen of our Handsome plus Hospitable project.
When this project had started, I was only an intern, and I actually came in at the middle of the project, so I don't have all the insight. I wasn't there for the entire project, so I'm actually going to ask Tamu some questions, and we're going to get the answers that everyone wants to know.
Okay, kicking it off interview style.
Let's start with question number one. Where was this project located?
So this project was in the Bay Ridge neighborhood of Brooklyn, also overlooking the Verrazano Bridge. Specifically, the kitchen was enclosed within the break room area.
So what was the scope of the work specifically within the kitchen?
Within the kitchen, I proposed to my client to knock down all the walls of the kitchen to enlarge in the kitchen and also open it to the rest of the common space. We also did the floors, all new cabinetry, all new appliances. We added an island, lighting, backsplash. So it was a gut renovation for the kitchen.
So I actually never got to see the client. I just heard. No, I never actually saw the client.
Wow.
What was the client actually like?
That is so crazy. I did not know that you never met him. But yeah, I'm so surprised you never met the client. But the client, he was a lawyer, he was a bachelor, and he was just moving into this condo. He liked to entertain, and he wanted a place where he could watch sporting events with his friends. And so that was kind of like the main objective. He wanted something comfortable that he could have friends over, watch the game basically. And that's really why I proposed kind of opening up the kitchen to the rest of the space so that the TV could be visible from anywhere in the break room.
So in addition to any of the requests that the client made, were there any more parameters or restrictions that you had to abide by?
Yeah, actually, with buildings in New York, there's usually some parameters and restrictions.
There's always restrictions.
Yeah, we had to get everything approved from the building's board of directors. And also, we weren't allowed to move any of the plumbing or the gas line. The sink had to stay in place, as well as the gas stove.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult. I definitely remember that, because the existing stove, it was like against the wall.
It would just butt up against the wall.
Yeah. Typically,
you need at least like 12 inches of space on either side of this range, but we had our hands tied on this one.
Yeah. So let's get into the layout.
Okay, yeah, let's talk layout. We actually absorbed the existing dining room. So what used to be the dining room, we added that into the kitchen, and we pushed the dining room kind of into the living room space. He is more of a traditionalist, and he really wasn't sold on the idea of having an open floor plan. So initially I actually proposed doing two almost like structural columns on either side of the island, just to give a feeling of separation. After a while, he actually did kind of warm up to the idea of doing an open space. He felt more confident in making that decision and allowed us to go ahead and just open up the space completely, which I definitely believe was the right decision there. And initially in our plan, we had a tall pantry. So there's a door that goes out to the patio in the middle of the kitchen. And if you guys want to see a review also of the patio space, it was a small patio, but we made it super cute.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of drama around that.
Yeah.
And we ended up having to take it all down. But anyway, we'll talk about that in another episode if you guys want to see the outdoor space, because I'm not sure if we want to break that part down or not, but we'll see.
Put a comment down below.
Yeah. So the door that was separating the kitchen and the dining space, right next to it, I was going to put a tall pantry because on the other side of it was the fridge. So my idea was to kind of flank the door with tall cabinetry just to get some symmetry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, my client's dad came over one day and was like, well, you know, what if I want to put my drink down before I go outside to the patio? And I said, fair enough. I said, you're maybe. I took out the pantry because honestly, we had enough storage space, and we were doubling the size of the kitchen, so it's not like we really needed the storage space. We missed that little bit of the symmetry, but I really didn't mind.
Okay, so now for my favorite part, materials.
Okay, so for materials, I did mention that my client was more of a traditionalist, so we went with a very traditional cabinet door profile that really had a lot of detailing. It was a raised panel, and honestly, you don't see it too much done anymore, but I thought it was just beautiful. We did it in a nice crisp white color. Also, let me mention that the island was in the same raised panel traditional detailing, only in a dark wood finish. And we blended both together by using the same quartz countertop on both. I'm not a huge fan of quartz, to be honest, and we can talk about that in a later video if you guys want to hear why. But this one, the veining was very soft. It was kind of like a Carrera mimic.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of gray in it. So we kind of pulled some of the gray from the floor tile that we chose up onto the countertop. We did the floors in a porcelain marble look, kind of like, I can't remember the name of this type of marble, but it's that kind of strié look. Okay, now this is my favorite part, the backsplash. We used a beautiful tile from Pratt & Lawson. It was glazed in a beautiful bright blue, and it also had a bit of a raised panel. So we kind of mimicked the doors, and we did a slight raised panel, so it had that kind of geometric look, which kind of brought some modernity. Yeah. But also the tiles were cracked. They had like a crackled glazing, which also kind of gave a handmade look, and really played into the traditional values of the kitchen.
What did we do for the hardware?
Okay, so yeah, let's get into the lighting and the hardware.
Yeah.
The hardware, I went very simple, the modern stainless steel pulls,
yeah,
which I don't know if I would use right now today. This project was pretty early on in my career. I also kept it pretty simple with the lighting as well. I went with 3 small pendants because remember, our client loves to throw viewing parties, watch parties for sporting events. So I didn't want anything too cumbersome and hanging low and getting in the way. The metal in them were a bronze color. The dining area off of this space also had bronze. That lighting was actually kind of the star of the show. So I kept it quiet with the island lights. It did have its own little energy with the kind of bubble glass, but you know, it was just a quiet little light.
Those are my favorite.
Were they?
Yeah, those like big lanterns. We'll talk about that in another video, but
oh yes, the
dining room are my favorite. For sure.
Yes. So in that project breakdown, we'll kind of go over those.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
You might as well go ahead and subscribe right now.
Yeah.
Hit your notification bell if you want to keep up with our projects and kind of if you're enjoying this content that we're creating for you guys.
So you mentioned how you wouldn't necessarily use the hardware that you used. That brings me to the next question.
Yeah.
What would you do, if anything, what would you do differently now that, you know, you've gained a lot more experience and your design style probably changed a little bit?
Yeah, you know, you don't even have to say if anything, because every time I finish a project, as soon as I'm done, there's something that I would have done differently. I learned so much on each project. So, you know, and I feel like it helps me be a little bit more fearless, because no matter how great it is today, tomorrow I'm going to be like, oh, I can do way better than that. So I give everything my all. So what would I do differently?
Would you have put the pantry?
You know, I like the way it looked without the pantry, because while I got the symmetry I needed actually from our window treatments. So
That's true.
we added these little bamboo shades above the door that went to the patio and the kitchen window, and that helps to get the balance that I was looking for. So we didn't necessarily need to do the pantry, and not having the pantry there actually gave us more space for backsplash, which I really loved.
Yeah, and it also allowed more light to come in from that door.
It's true. Yeah, to help it be a bright, sunny kitchen. So I wouldn't have done that differently.
So, what do you feel makes this particular space in this project special? Are there any details?
So this kitchen was a part of a larger project, and in that project we used this beautiful crown molding, and just the molding and doors in this project in hardware I really loved. And we actually brought that same crown molding into the kitchen and just color matched it to the cabinets. And I felt like that made a really big difference. And I loved the look of it. It really worked with our more traditional cabinet styles. Also, the finishing on the tile. Now, I'm very particular about the way that things are finished. And instead of using maybe like a metal strip to finish the tile work, I actually got pencil molding in the same finish as my tile to finish off all the edges. And I felt like it really just kind of amped it up a little bit, and it made it just even a little bit more tasteful. Also, I did mention that we opened up this kitchen. I switched over from the wood floor to a tile. Early on, I spoke to the contractor and really reiterated that I really wanted the floor to have a flush finish from the wood floor to the tile, and it came out so perfectly. And that's something that you really have to talk to your contractors early so that the subfloor can be prepared correctly, because I am not a fan of the transition strips. They feel like they're a tripping hazard, and like sometimes the little nails pop up and like stick you in your foot, and just I'm not a fan of those. I also really love the chairs, the bar stools here, and the rounded back. There is a slight nautical theme that's kind of woven throughout with the bubble glass, and the back of the chairs kind of reminded me of a boat. Yeah. I love those as well. I felt like those kind of amped it up and made it special. Not only that, I feel like what made not just this kitchen but this project very special to me is that it was my first project that I had featured. Yeah. So
Where was that
this project,
featured
I was
at?
actually on the cover of the Olive Guide magazine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a proud and happy moment, and I slayed that cover, hunty.
Oh yeah. Like the look that you had.
Slayed it. And it was just it was such a proud moment to have something that you work hard on featured. And so I think that's what made it really special for me. So let me ask you a few questions, since this was this your first project that you worked on professionally?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This was my first like professional project. I feel like this project is where I learned like the most lessons.
How so?
Just because, in school, you don't really get to go like physically on site. I mean, you do, but you don't get to actually be around during like construction.
Yeah.
I made the mistake to go to the site dressed as if I was gonna work in someone's office.
Yes.
I remember the outfit. I had like black flats on. I had like a little dress on.
See, black on construction sites, don't do it to yourself. You're gonna be leaving looking dusty.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I definitely came back. I had rips in my stockings. My black was gray. It was just a mess. That was the first lesson that I learned on that project. But also just kind of like interacting with contractors and just discovering the importance of project management.
Yeah.
And I feel like some clients, they might feel like, I can handle that. I don't want to, I'll skip out on the project management part.
Yeah.
That's a job in and of itself. And that's a big part of being an interior designer that you don't really learn in school.
not the glamorous part,
Yeah.
but still very necessary. Well, I hope that you guys had a great time learning about our kitchen for our Handsome Plus Hospitable project.
Yeah.
We had a great time sharing with you, and we invite you to share this video with anyone who you think would be interested in learning a little bit more about design. And like I said, go ahead and subscribe if you are interested in seeing more of this content.
Yeah, and also make sure to comment.
Yeah.
Ask us any questions. Tell us what you think about some of the points that we made. We want to have like a really good open conversation here.
Yeah. So thanks again for stopping by, and hope to see you on the next one.